Hi, very good morning. I'm Dr. Janak Patel. Today I will be talking on how you calculate rate in ECG, atrial rate as well as ventricular rate. So we'll be showing you how exactly we calculate. Again, we have already told you that I'll try to make it as simple as possible so you understand very nicely. So you'll be able to make out rate very easily in any ECG. So whenever you see any ECG, try to calculate rate on your own. Calculate both rate, atrial rate as well as a ventricular rate, because there are many conditions where you can have a difference. So try to calculate. So as much practice you do, more you see, more you listen, you will know more and more. So try to do a practice on a ECG, whatever ECG you see every day. ECG machine will give you a printout of heart rate, because nowadays majority of the ECG machines which are having a computerized chip inside will give you an ECG recording along with heart rate, atrial rate, ventricular rate, all those. Do not rely on it because it can give you a false reading sometime. Always calculate yourself, and we'll show you how exactly you calculate. Whenever the rate, any rate which is less than 60 per minute, whether it is atrial, ventricular, nodal or sinus, or it is a pacemaker, we use the word bradycardia, and more than 100 per minute, we use the word tachycardia. It is only rate per minute. We don't mention anything regarding the rhythm. And then depending upon the rhythm, we'll mention sinus bradycardia, sinus tachycardia, nodal tachycardia, nodal bradycardia, etc. We'll be using those particular terms. And we'll be mentioning all those terms later on in this particular lecture. So before calculating the rate, you must look at the regularity of QRS complex and PP interval. So if PP interval is constant and regular, then formula is different. If RR interval is regular and constant, then also the formula is different. By and large, always atrial rate is equal to ventricular rate whenever there is sinus rhythm, whether it is bradycardia, tachycardia, or sinus arrhythmia. You will have a constant atrial rate equal to ventricular rate, because whatever impulse are transmitted from sinus node will be transmitted to atria, will be transmitted to ventricle. Hence, you will have a P wave followed by QRS complex. And so atrial rate will be equal to ventricular rate. But in some of the disease where atrial impulse may not be transmitted to ventricle, your atrial rate and ventricular rate will be different. So we'll be showing you those particular conditions in a subsequent slides. So we divide into ECG into two big groups. If ECG is showing you a regular rhythm, meaning RR interval is constant, PP interval is constant, we'll utilize this formula, that is 1500 divided by number of small square between R to R, or 1500 divided by number of small square between P to P. We call PP interval, RR interval. RR interval will give you ventricular rate and PP interval will give you atrial rate. But if rhythm is irregular, whether regularly irregular or irregularly irregular, there is a this formula cannot be applied. 1500 divided by number of small square, we cannot apply that formula. So we usually apply a formula. You take an rhythm strip which is 30 big square, or we call 6-second paper. In a 6-second paper, calculate the number of QRS complex for ventricular rate, multiply by 10, or calculate the number of PP, P wave, and multiply by 10. And this is the best method to calculate the rate if rhythm is irregular. This is why we use a 1500. This is a small explanation. When the paper speed is 25 millimeter per second, so in 1 minute, that is 60 seconds, you will have 1500 small square will come out. So 1500 divided by number of small square between R to R will be one formula, or number of QRS complex in 1500 millimeter paper or we call 60-second paper will give you. That is a very tedious and it will be a wastage of ECG paper. So usually we utilize either 6-second strips, which is 30 big square large boxes. So you calculate the number of QRS complex or P wave in 6-second strip, multiply by 10, or that is calculate P wave or R wave and multiply by 10, or you calculate RR interval 1500 divided by number of small square between R to R or number of small square between P to P will give you the answer regarding the rate. Whenever the person is having an irregular rhythm, this is the only formula which can be very helpful. So take a 6-second strip or what we call as a 30 large boxes, which comes to 150 small boxes. Calculate the number of P wave in that or R wave in that and multiply by 10 will give you the answer whenever the rhythm is irregular, whether it may be regularly irregular or irregularly irregular. So that is the base technique. This is a one ECG which is showing you the rhythm strip where you can utilize this formula, that is 1500 divided by RR interval, that is this is approximately 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, that is 35 small square, 37 38 small square. So 1500 divided by 38 will give you a heart rate. So this is that particular technique. Here you can see that it is 20 small square. So 1500 divided by 20 will come to 75. So that is the way. Here 1500 divided by so many number of small square. You will have to calculate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 40. So 1500 divided by 40 will roughly come to 38. So this is a technique which you can utilize. And this is when you take a 6-second paper, calculate the number of QRS complex or calculate the number of a P wave, multiply by 10 can be utilized. This can be utilized also in case of a regular rhythm, and it is the only method by which you can calculate if the rhythm is irregular. So whichever technique you can utilize accordingly. This is one ECG where it shows you that this is a 6-second paper, and in that the number of QRS complex are 8. So 8 multiplied by 10 will give you the rate 80. So now we are talking about the theoretical part. In any normal person, ventricular rate is always equal to atrial rate. That I have already given an explanation. That SA node will stimulate atrium. That impulse will pass through AV node and will stimulate ventricle. So P wave is followed by QRS complex. The number of P wave and number of QRS complex are same. Hence the rate will be same. But in some of the condition, ventricular rate can be faster than atrial rate. By and large, the ventricular rate is always equal to ventricular rate. But in case of an AV dissociation, and in a AV dissociation, if ventricular rate, idioventricular rate is faster and atrial rate is slow, you can have a ventricular rate faster than atrial rate because ventricle is generating impulse on its own and it is totally dissociated from the above impulse, that is atrial impulse. Hence this is called AV dissociation, atrioventricular dissociation. While opposite of that, in a conditions where the atrial rate is very fast, say like in atrial flutter, all impulse are not transmitted to ventricle. Few impulse are transmitted, few impulse are not transmitted. We call atrial flutter with a fixed block or variable block. Because of this, the atrial rate is faster. Few impulse are transmitted, that's why the ventricular rate is little less than atrial rate. And another classical example is of a complete heart block where the atrial pacemaker rate is always more than the ventricular pacemaker rate because idioventricular rate or indioventricular rhythm rate is less than 40 while atrial rate is between 60 to 100. Hence atrial rate is always faster than the ventricular rate, and so in a complete heart block atrial rate is always faster than the ventricular rate. Now there is another condition where atrial generates the impulses but cannot pass to the ventricle, and hence there are only P wave. Because of that you can calculate only atrial rate There are no QRS complex, hence there is no ventricular contraction. And as there is no ventricular contraction, you see on an ECG only P wave. There are no QRS complex, means hence there is no ventricular contraction. No contraction of ventricle means no stroke output, no blood output to brain and all other organs, and person will develop a syncope. And this condition is given a name Stokes-Adam attack. And if it lasts longer, it can be dangerous one. Hence, this will give you only atrial rate, but ventricle rate will be 0. While there is a condition where the P wave are absent in some of the conditions, or you can't identify the P wave, and ventricular rates, that is QRS complex, are seen. So you cannot calculate the atrial rate, but you can calculate the ventricular rate. Classical example, ventricular tachycardia and ventricular fibrillation, where you can see a QRS complex, but you don't see atrium, P wave. Hence, you cannot calculate the atrial rate. While in atrial fibrillation, there is irregular RR interval, but P wave is not seen. It is seen in the form of a F wave. It is seen in the form of a F wave. This is called fibrillatory wave. You cannot calculate the atrial rate. You can calculate the ventricular rate in atrial fibrillation by taking a 6-second strip. Calculate the number of QRS complex, multiply by 10 will give you the atrial rate, or ventricular rate, sorry. Hence, there is only ventricular rate which can be calculated in ventricular tachycardia, ventricular fibrillation, and in case of an atrial fibrillation. So, atrial rate you can calculate by using PP interval. Atrial rate is faster than ventricular rate in atrial flutter, complete heart block, Stokes-Adam attack. And P wave, when it is absent, you know that you will not have a atrial calculation. You can calculate only ventricular. Classical example, ventricular tachycardia, ventricular fibrillation, supraventricular tachycardia where P wave will not be seen, or it is hidden in T wave, and in case of an atrial fibrillation. These are the conditions. And whenever there is a sinus arrest or ventricular arrest, or we call as a standstill, or we call asystole, there is no P wave or there is no QRS complex, you cannot calculate the P wave, that is atrial rate, or you cannot calculate the ventricular rate. This is one ECG which shows you that QRS complex are narrow. You cannot make out the P wave clearly between the two QRS complex. You cannot make out because there is a merging of a T wave and P wave, so you cannot make out. So usually we say that no P wave seen, narrow QRS complex. RR interval is absolutely regular, and being a narrow QRS complex, this is supraventricular, rhythm wise, and rate wise, this is tachycardia because there is 7 small square between the RR. So 1500 divided by 7 comes to more than 200. So this is supraventricular tachycardia. So this is 200, 7.5 small square. Now here you can see there is a narrow QRS complex, RR interval is constant. Now if you see just before the QRS complex there is a P wave, but there is hardly any PR interval. So this will happen in a junctional rhythm, or we call it a AV nodal focus. So focus is from AV node that generates the impulse which goes to the atrium, produces a P wave. Simultaneously it generates the impulse which is traveling through bundle of his, then activates septum and left ventricle and right ventricle, which gives rise to QRS complex. Now here you can see that the P wave rate will be equal to RR rate. So atrial rate will be equal to ventricular rate, even in case of a junctional rhythm. And this will be calculated by 1500 divided by number of small square between R to R. Roughly this is 30 small square. So 1500 divided by 30 small square, which comes to 50. And nodal rhythm rate is between 40 to 60. Hence this is called normal junctional rhythm. So this is normal junctional rhythm. Rhythm is junctional. And rate wise it is normal. This is not called bradycardia because junctional rate is between 40 to 60. So this is a normal rate. So for junctional, if the rate becomes less than 40, we'll call junctional rhythm with slow ventricular rate or slow junctional rhythm. And if the rate becomes more than 60 and less than 100, we call junctional rhythm with fast ventricular rate or accelerated junctional rhythm. And if the junctional rate is more than 100, then only we use a word junctional tachycardia. Usually there is no word like junctional bradycardia, but we use a word junctional rhythm with slow ventricular rate if it is less than 40. So this is a normal junctional rhythm. Now you can see here that this is an ECG paper which shows you a rhythm strip where RR interval is nearly constant, and you see there is a wave. This is sawtooth appearance. These are called flutter waves. These are P waves. These are P waves. So there are many P waves, but few are transmitted. So this is called a block. So every fourth P wave is transmitted. Now if you calculate the P to P interval, from P to P interval, it is roughly 5 small square, and from R to R interval, it is roughly 20 small square. So ventricular rate is 1500 divided by 20, that is 75, and atrial rate is 1500 divided by 5. So there are 300 atrial rate and ventricular rate is 75. The P wave is a sawtooth appearance. That's why this is called atrial flutter. Now, for every 4 atrial beat, 1 is transmitted. So this is called 4:1 block. Ventricular rate is 75. Atrial flutter with 4:1 block. Now this is a rhythm strip showing you that you can see here, this is a RR interval. It is changing constantly. If this is changing, you will have to use 6-second strip, calculate the number of QRS complex. Say this is a 6-second strip. Number of QRS complex are 11. 11 multiplied by 10, it will make 110. And if you see in between, now there is no P wave seen. There is a line which is called as a F wave. These are called fibrillatory wave. So this is atrial fibrillation with fast ventricular rate. This is atrial fibrillation with fast ventricular rate. This is irregular rhythm. Now you can see here, this is QRS complex which is broad. There is no P wave before. So this is a ventricular rhythm. This is a ventricular rhythm. QRS complex is broad. There is no P wave in front. And RR interval is constant. Now if you calculate the interval between R to R, almost 40, more than 40 small square. 1500 divided by 40 comes to nearly 40. Less than 40, 35, around approximately 35. So ventricular rate is 35. And this is a broad QRS complex. There is no P wave in front. So this is called idioventricular rhythm. And idioventricular rhythm is usually between 20 to 40. Hence, this rate is normal for this ECG strip. We cannot call this as a bradycardia even if the rate is 35. This is normal ventricular rhythm rate. Hence, this is called normal idioventricular rhythm. Now you can see here similar broad QRS complex. You can see this broad QRS complex. There is no P wave. T wave is in opposite direction. And if you look here, roughly this is 3.5 big square, means almost 17 to 18 small square. So 1500 divided by, say, we say 20. So this makes 75. So idioventricular rhythm is there and rate is 75. But normal idioventricular rhythm rate is 20 to 40. So it is more than 40 but less than 100. As it is less than 100 and more than 40, we call accelerated idioventricular rhythm. If it becomes more than 100, then only we call that as a ventricular tachycardia. And if it is less than 20, then we call it an idioventricular rhythm with slow ventricular rate. These are the terminology which are being utilized. Now you can see here, all QRS complex are broad. There are no P waves. And if you look between the two RR, all this is constant. This is constant. So rhythm is regular. And if you want to calculate the rate, this is approximately 7 small square, 7.5 small square. So 1500 divided by 7.5 will approximately come to 200. Approximately will come to 200. So this is a ventricular rhythm. Rate is 200. So there is definitely tachycardia. We'll call this as a ventricular tachycardia. Ventricular tachycardia. Clear? And here, if you see, all QRS complex are of a same shape. So we call these as a monophasic ventricular tachycardia. And this is more than 30 seconds. Then this is called as sustained ventricular tachycardia. We'll be using all this term when we do the lecture on ventricular rhythm and ventricular tachycardia. So we'll be using that particular. RR interval is constant and regular. And so this is ventricular tachycardia. Now this is a very interesting ECG. You can see that this is a normal P wave, QRS complex, T wave, P wave, normal QRS complex, T. And now you can see that P wave, this P wave is not followed by QRS complex. These are all P wave. It is not followed by QRS complex. During this time, there is no ventricular contraction, no blood supply to brain, person will have a syncope. And this is a classical example we call it a Stokes-Adam attack. Here you can calculate the atrial rate, but you cannot calculate the ventricular rate. So atrial rate is almost approximately 100 per minute, but ventricular rate you cannot calculate. So this is classical example of that. Now this is another example. Now you can see here, this is broad QRS complex, which suggests ventricular complex, and then suddenly there is an electrical activity which does not show whether it is a QRS complex, what complex it is. So this is a bizarre QRS complex. This is called ventricular fibrillation. So ventricular tachycardia has gone into ventricular fibrillation. You cannot calculate the atrial rate, you cannot calculate the ventricular rate. And this is a medical emergency where you will have to act very fast. This has to be given a defibrillation. Now there are some terminology I've already told you. When the rhythm is sinus and rate is between 60 to 100, we call as a normal sinus rhythm. If rhythm is sinus, rate is less than 60, we call sinus bradycardia. Rhythm is sinus, rate more than 100, we call sinus tachycardia. If rhythm is atrial and there are F wave, we call atrial fibrillation. Rhythm is atrial, there are sawtooth appearance of the P wave, we call as atrial flutter. When there is a narrow QRS complex, no P wave, and if the rate is more than 150 per minute, we call supraventricular tachycardia. If supraventricular tachycardia comes in paroxysm and in between there is a normal sinus rhythm, then we call that as a paroxysmal atrial tachycardia. If rhythm is nodal, meaning QRS complex is narrow, no P wave preceding QRS complex, or P wave is just before QRS complex, or P wave comes just after QRS complex, and if rate is between 40 to 60 per minute, we'll call as a normal nodal rhythm or normal junctional rhythm. And if the rate is less than 40, then we call that as a junctional rhythm with a slow ventricular rate. And if the rate is more than 60, we call as a junctional rhythm with a fast ventricular rate. And if the rate is more than 100, then we call as a junctional tachycardia or nodal tachycardia. And if there is a ventricular rhythm, meaning there is a broad QRS complex, T wave in opposite direction, no preceded by P wave, and if the rate is between 20 to 40, it is idioventricular rhythm. If the rate is less than 30, it is usually we call as a idioventricular rhythm with a slow ventricular rate. And if the rate is less than 100 but more than 40, we call accelerated idioventricular rhythm. And if the rate is more than 100, then we call as a ventricular tachycardia. These are all the different terminology which are being utilized. And if the rhythm is ventricular and rate is more than 300, you can identify a QRS complex, then we call that as a ventricular flutter. And if P wave, there is no relation to QRS complex, P wave rate is more than QRS complex, P wave is independent, QRS complex is independent, and atrial rate is faster than ventricular rate, we call that as complete heart block. QRS complex may be narrow or may be broad. You can have a broad complex complete heart block, you can have a narrow complex complete heart block. If P wave has got no relation to QRS complex and QRS complex are independent, P wave is independent, but QRS complex are more than P wave, it is classical AV dissociation. I end my lecture here. I hope this will be helpful to you.